Welcome, 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 welcome. You're at the right place at the right time. This is heaven on earth. This is the number one home for personal development and abstract thought. You are safe here. Come through and fellowship. It's an honor to be here. This is a place where you come in ordinary and you leave extraordinary. Welcome to heaven on earth. This is a personal development ministry where we use personal development as a vehicle to get heaven now. We do not believe that you have to die to get heaven on earth or to get heaven now. All you have to do is be real, reflective, enlightened, accountable, and limitless. If you can see me, press one. And if you can hear me, press two. I have a promise for you that no matter what's going on in your life, no matter where you at, no matter your circumstance, my promise to you is that personal development is for everybody. Personal development is for the babies. Personal development is for the rich man. Personal development is for the guy that's check to check, the woman that's check to check. It don't matter. You need personal development in your life for something. Your finances, your health, your relationship, your mindset. Personal development is forever. Shout out to y'all. Keep your babies close to you. And I want you to be patient if you have someone in your life that is trying to love on you. Give each other grace because it's hard. Give yourself grace for everything that's happened in the past. Give yourself grace for the life that you're living now. And give yourself grace, most importantly, for the mistakes that you're going to make in the future. Give yourself grace. I have a conversation today that is very interesting to me, and I hope that you can pull from it. It's a conversation I was thinking about for the last couple days, or I've been thinking about it since I seen it the first time a couple years ago. I'm always a person that, I like, it's important for me to know what I'm looking at. I don't like to just respond immediately. It's about being first and who went live about it or who covered it first, and then you move on. But some things you have to dig into. Some things need further explanations. Our conversation today is fans, brands, and cults. Are you out there, are you Nature Boy and are you Carbon Nation? Or do you have a little bit of it in you? Do you have a little bit of Nature Boy in you? Do you have a little bit of carbonation in you? And for those that don't know what that is or who I'm speaking of, Carbonation is a cult, and their charismatic leader, their teacher, is a gentleman named Nature Boy who just got life in prison. And I remember him from a couple years ago. I got to see it, I got to watch it grow. And it's just interesting to see a cult in real time. And a lot of times, cult leaders, they're older, but to see young people caught up in it. And when I hear the response from people, it's always to say that those that get caught in cults are stupid or dumb or they have low self esteem. Okay, that's fine. I'll buy that. But there's another dynamic of cults. There's a couple dynamic of cults people don't talk about it. It's that there's something in every human being that's culty, right? It's culty. People are in tribes. It's very culty. It's very cliquish. Now, the difference between cults and religious institution is the primary characters in religious institutions are dead. Muhammad is dead. Buddha is dead. Jesus is dead. Cults, the person is living, and they have a control over people, and the public doesn't look into how people are being controlled or why they're being controlled. But the main thing they miss is everybody has the behavior like they're inside of a cult. Fans, brands, and cults. What's the difference between them? When somebody is in a cult, What's the difference between them and a fan? A fan that is loyal and committed and addicted to a brand. Fans, brands, cults. Carbonation was just one cult. But what about the cult of Nike? What about the cult of Jordans? People kill over those shoes. People die over those shoes. Fans, brands, cults. See, it's easy to look at people in the cult and say that something is wrong with them and that there's somebody that is preying on them. I got you. I got you. But brands prey on fans. What's the difference? You might be in a cult right now for your favorite brand, right? Or your religion or your family. Same dynamics. So there's something that is hardwired in human beings to be part of cults. It just looks different. What is a fan? What does that look like? The conversation for today is fans, brands, and cults. These are fans right here. These are fans. Their favorite sports team won, and these people went to the streets and acted a fool over a sports team winning a championship. Now, the people that are out on the street risking their freedom, they don't benefit from the sports team winning unless they bet on the game. They don't make money with the team. When the team does something good or bad, the fan says, we need to play better. The fan says, all we need is one more piece and we'll be a championship team. The fan says, oh, the refs cheated us. We don't look at fans as being part of a cult, even though a fan is short for fanatic. The etymology of the word fanatic is an insane person, enthusiastic, inspired by God, furious, mad, pertaining to a temple, from funum, shrine, consecrated place, festive. A fanatic is a zealous person, a person affected by enthusiasm. So being a fan is excessive enthusiasm for something. So much so that the fan will burn their own city when their favorite team wins. Look at fan behavior. Look at what fans do in support of their favorite team. Now, what is the difference between a fan and a person that is in a cult? The person that is the cult leader seems like they have mind control over the person, correct? Well, what about fan behavior though? Why would people do this as if the sports team is part of their family? Why would people risk their freedom? Why would they vandalize businesses? Why would they do this? Why would they cause property damage because their favorite team won? Why we don't look at fans as being part of cults? What is the difference? We don't look at the owner of the team as a cult leader, even though the team can influence the public's behavior to put their freedom on the line doing very stupid things. We don't look at fans as being a part of a cult, but they are. Fans. Now, they're not doing this for books. They're not doing this for peace. They're not doing this to save the environment as a political statement. No. They're not doing this because someone was wrongly imprisoned. The fans are doing this because of their love for the team. Now, what's the difference between the fan and a person that is in the cult? Because when we would see Nature Boy's cult, we said the people are dumb. I got you. That's fine. But why we don't look at fans the same way? These are fans. A fan is a fanatic. And they have excessive enthusiasm. Fan behavior can potentially be globally catastrophe. What's the word? Fan behavior can be catastrophic. Put it like that. There we go. The behavior of fans causes genocide. Did you know that? The behavior of fans leads to colonization. The behavior of fans leads to people losing their land and their language and their culture and their religion and their spirituality. That's how strong the power of being a fan is. When you believe in the brand so much, you'll do anything. But we don't look at fans as being part of cults, even though being a fan has had a major effect on history. Let's take the doctrine of discovery. The doctrine of discovery is a philosophical and legal framework dating from the 15th century by which the governments of nominally Christian nations sought to legitimize the invasion and domination of indigenous people and seizure of their lands, codified through papal bulls, royal charters, and even the U.S. Supreme cases. They would call that manifest destiny. Now, this is the epitome of being a fan, right? Some of you may have never heard of the doctrine of discovery. You heard that Columbus discovered America. Well, he did, based on language and based on the viewpoint of the church at the time. You want to screenshot this and do your own research so you can look at the doctrine of discovery, because this is all about being a fan, right? King Alfonso, the Pope, says to invade, search out, capture, vanquish, subdue all Saracens and pagans whatsoever and other enemies of Christ, wheresoever placed, and the kingdoms, dukedoms, principalities, dominions, possessions, and all movable and immovable goods whatsoever held, and possess them, and to reproduce their persons to perpetual slavery, and to apply and appropriate to himself and his successors the kingdoms, dukedoms, counties, principalities, dominions, possessions, and goods, and to convert them to his own profit. Now, what you're looking at is a document from the Pope that allowed Spain and Portugal to do whatever they want with the land that they found in the age of exploration. Now, some of you might say, well, why is that important? Because we're talking about fans, brands, and cults. Just so we're clear, that is Spain, and the orange is Spain, the green is Portugal. Now, in the grand scheme of things, very small countries, right? But here is the power of a fan. Once those papal bulls go into the effects, what happens from there? Everywhere in the red is Spanish territory. You're looking at the Spanish Empire. Everywhere in the green, you're looking at the Portuguese Empire. Now, this happens because of the doctrine of discovery. So what it allowed is men to go out to the world, and if it wasn't a Christian nation that they found, they put the people in slavery, took all their things, colonized them, and basically terraformed their entire culture. Okay, why is that important? Because they did it from a fan perspective. They were fans of the brand of the Catholic Church. That's how powerful a fan is. Look at fans. Look at what fans will do. Now, before we pass judgment on people in a cult, you have to ask yourself, are you in one? Are you in a cult for your favorite team? Are you in a cult for your favorite brand? Right? And you think that the person that is listening to the charismatic leader is under mind control. But what about you when you break your back during Christmas to provide items for your family members, even if you can't afford them, but you will put yourself in a bad position of working yourself to death just to buy and have access to your favorite brand? So, what is the difference between a person that is in a cult? Fans, brands, and cults. What's the difference? What's the difference? Some would say, I can't believe that people allow Charles Manson to have control over them. I got you. But McDonald's has control over people. What's the difference? Burger King has control over people. What's the difference? Hip hop has control over people. What's the difference? The church has control over people. Colleges have control over people. What's the difference? The difference is a brand is an ideal, it's not a person. So when people are caught up in brands and selling their soul for brands, the public doesn't react the same way because it's not a person. Once it becomes a person, then people put it under a microscope. Okay? Brands. What is a brand? Let me tell you how powerful brands are, right? Brands are so powerful that when you're communicating with somebody, if they don't text back in a specific color, you automatically put them somewhere, which is crazy. Huh? If you are dating somebody and y'all are texting back and forth and that color don't hit a certain type of way, not everybody, but many people pass a judgment on that individual. They often disqualify the person. Now, I'm not messing with you because you're not associated and affiliated with the right brand. A lot of the times people have their computer sitting a certain type of way so you can see the logo, because the logo is the brand in your mind has value to it. Apple is a lifestyle. No one ever really talks about the functionality of the phone. We don't look at that as a cult, though. We don't look at how we are loyal to a brand as being affiliated with a cult. The brand of McDonald's is so powerful that my mother ate it, I ate it, and there have been times when I stopped at McDonald's when my son was small, knowing what the ingredients was to the food. But he's seen that logo and he's seen them commercials and he knows that that Happy Meal has a toy, right? He wants the toy. So in order to get the toy, I had to get the nuggets. But 3 generations are now practicing brand loyalty. We're not in a cult. Even though I knew that the fries and the food, it didn't provide me any sustenance. Why would I do that? My mom gave it to me. I gave it to my child. I've met people there, even though we all know that the ingredients does not benefit us, but we still did it. We still ate it. We practiced brand loyalty, but no one would look at us as being in a cult, though. Why not? Even though what I'm doing is unhealthy, even though this is not a smart diet, doesn't matter, right? Because it's an ideal, right? There's not a face to it. No one knows the face of McDonald's. That is the only difference between fans that are addicted to brands. Is the brand is an ideal. When people do cults, they are the face of their movement. They don't really have a central ideal. It's about the worship of the person. But fans have the same behavior to brands. Same behavior. Fanaticism. You are out of your mind. You have devoted your entire existence to this person. But fans commit their entire existence to brands. Frosted Flakes, Fruit Loops, Captain Crunch, all things that I ate as a child, and my son also ate. He ate Cheerios. I ate Cheerios. I bought Nikes as a teenager. I bought Nikes for my kid, right? Most likely, he will buy Nikes for his kid in America, at least, right? So we're talking about 4 generations all spending money on the same brand, but nobody would look at us as being in a cult. Fans, brands, and cults. What's the difference? So even from the text message perspective, people are reading your messages, but it has to come in a certain form, right? Because if it's a real person that is a stone cold iPhone supporter, if you're an Android user, they might disqualify you of sleeping with you based off your phone. That's how real fans of brands are. You could be the best thing that happens in their life, but you'll never get there because you're an Android user. But we don't look at that behavior as cults, right? Our topic for today is fans, brands, and cults. And for the people that was affected, or the people that have been affected by cults, man, I'm definitely not, making fun of everyone. What I am showing though is, dang, we kind of all in the same boat, right? There ain't really a difference between a person that's in a cult and me. I was in the cult of Allen Iverson. I got his shoes. I got my hair braided like him. I wanted to wear the jersey playing basketball. Maybe I've been part of the cult of Nas. I still get a part of my hair because of how he looked on It Was Written. I listened to hours and hours and hours and hours of his music, studying it. This person don't know me. I got in debates with people, right? I am spreading his music. Hey, have you heard this? Hey, have you heard that? I wasn't in a cult, right? I definitely had some culty behavior. What kind of purse is this? If you know what kind of purse this is, and there's no name on the purse, and there's no face on the purse, that's branding. Brands are not logos necessarily. When people say, I'm the brand, no, you're not. A brand is an ideal. That's what a brand is. When you see something and an ideal comes to your mind and it doesn't have a name on it and there's no face, they don't even do commercials for these type of persons. There are women that will never get this purse ever, but they know what it is. If a woman walks by wearing this purse, or if a man gets his lady this purse, you're going to put them at a certain status. Does anybody know what kind of purse this is? They make songs about these purses. Now, for you to pay the ticket on this purse, I don't care if you got the money. How is that not a cult? And if a woman has this purse, why would we associate more value to that woman? And if a man gets a woman that purse, we'll look at the man as different than every other man. How is that not culty though? All he did was buy a purse. What does that mean? Right? The woman walking around with the purse, we assign value to her. Why? Because she has a bag. Okay, what does the bag do? Does the bag have healing properties? It don't matter. Right? Does anybody know what kind of bag this is? They're very, very expensive. Right? They make songs about these purses. And there's women that say, look, if you can't get me this, yeah, then no go. So Birkins, right? Ain't these Birkins? Ain't some of these bags 30, 40 racks? 30, 40 racks for a purse? Like, does it have a fire extinguisher in it? Does it have a secret weapons compartment? It's the ideal. Before we look at Carbon Nation and judge them, yeah, they do have a ashy look to them, and they aesthetically like, I get it, I'm with you. At the same time, though, the reason why people keep being a part of cults is because there's something in our nature to want to worship something, whether that's a statue, whether that's an ideal, whether that's a car. People name their cars, right? You know, it's something in us that makes us prime to be controlled by a charismatic person, to be controlled by a brand, to be controlled by a company, to be controlled by an institution. There's something about us in our wiring that makes us give ourselves to things that don't necessarily benefit us. Being a fan of a team, that doesn't necessarily benefit me per se, you know. Having a favorite artist, that doesn't necessarily benefit me per se. Oftentimes, even the religions that we subscribe to doesn't necessarily benefit us. We just do it. A lot of it is cultural. But a brand is an ideal. And when you're looking at a Birkin bag, it plants, or there's an ideal that comes in people's minds, even though the person may have no value in terms of their human contributions. They might not even be a doctor. They might not give to charity. They might not do nothing special, but we will assign meaning to a person because they have this bag. Fans, brands, and cults. One of the best brand strategists ever, in my opinion, Seth Godin. A brand is a set of expectations, memories, stores, and relationships that, taken together, account for consumers' decision to choose one product or service over another. Brands are ideals. Makes us a good brand makes us feel a certain kind of way, right? Makes us feel a way. But the difference between a brand and a cult leader is the cult leader makes it about him or herself. So the people aren't following a set of ideals, a set of codes and philosophies. They are following the individual. Jim Jones, Nature Boy, Dr. York, Polite. These are all cult leaders, and it's all about personality. But Beyonce has a cult. Nicki has a cult. It's not just men that are cult leaders. You have women as cult leaders as well. It just looks different. We call Nicki Minaj's cult the Barbs. Like a named after a doll. The Barbs. These people will come for you. Beyonce, the Beehive, Taylor Swift, the Swifties. Like, this is an identity that people have. So you look at people that was following nature, it just looked real stinky. They look malnourished. They don't look wavy, right? But spending $500 on a concert, going back and forth on social media over the individual, protecting them as if that's our family member or we actually know them. Everybody's low key in a cult. Fans of brands are not looked at as victims or lost souls or people that have low self-esteem. Why does a person that is in a cult, why do we look at them to have low self-esteem? Why do we associate being lost souls? No one ever says anything good about a person that is in a cult. And I get it. But at the same time, getting up early on Black Friday to go shop, like being in a crowd just to go shop. So just so I'm clear, fans and brands are not looked at as victims or lost souls or people that have low self-esteem. We don't look at Black Friday shoppers as people that have low self-esteem. We don't look at people that have put themselves in this position as lost souls. We don't say that Best Buy or Samsung are preying on the weak. We don't say that, right? We don't say that. Even though the public can be buying a product that's retailing for $600, but it costs $75 or $1.50 or $200 to make. We don't look at the person that buys over marked up bottles in the club as a victim. You know how dumb I was when I bought bottles in the club? Pay $700 for a table, $200 for a bottle that is $40. I don't got low self-esteem. But if I get in a cult, then you'll say, oh man, you fell off. Like, but wait a minute, I wasn't falling off when I was spending $1,000 in a strip club. Like, and I'm first generation. I wasn't born with any I didn't have an inheritance, no trust, no life insurance. That kind of financial behavior, that's not lost. I don't have low self-esteem. Fans of brands are not looked at as victims or lost souls or people that have low self-esteem. Why not though? Why not? This is dangerous. But no one would associate these people with being in a cult though. Now, I'll tell you where all cult leaders go wrong in a second, right? Because no matter what, people are going to be in a cult. So it's better that you start one of your own. I'm going to tell you exactly how to do it. These are the clues right here. Do you see any faces on the boxes? No. You just see a company. Bingo. Right? If you really want to start a cult, never put your face on it. It's not about you, it's about the product. The cult leader wants the energy instead of directing the energy to a product or service. Nature Boy ain't write no books. He ain't create no products. He had a sales force. He had a sales force that he probably didn't even have to pay. So if he created something, he had nothing but legs and hands that would be out campaigning on his behalf. He had a built-in team. Whether he was making shea butter, it don't matter. The cult leader ain't about business. The cult leader is about attention. But if the cult leader think like a corporation, then you get rich, right? And you get the same thing that you get from regular cult worship, but you actually win at life. Cult leaders don't win at life. They all go to jail. You all lose in the end because you make it about you. Fans of brands are not looked at as victims or lost souls or people that have low self-esteem. Wow. This is brands right here, right? The cult leader don't think like this, right? The new TikTok generation and even people with platforms don't think like this. It's all about attention. Follow me, follow me. Look at me, look at me. Okay, fine. Once the people look at you, once you get the attention, then what? Where do you go from there? Now what? You got everybody looking at you. You got everybody following you. Now what do you do with them? Oh, yeah, let's just hang out. Like what? Right? People that weren't seen as children need cults. You need to be something to somebody. You need to be important, right? But that's not a good long-term strategy because now you're responsible for people. But if you think more like a corporation, here's what cult behavior looks like. You don't see man face on the product. You don't even know who this stuff belongs to. Doesn't matter though. The people are in a frenzy. This is fanaticism right here. This is what you do with a fan. You don't get with your fans and say, hey, come out, come hang with me. No, you don't do that. You're trying to start a cult. Oh, yeah. We're all family. That's cult language, right? You give up your identity for the cult leader, right? But the difference is the ideal of the brand becomes the dominant philosophy of the person, not the cult leader. The ideal of the brand. All cult leaders take an L, right? Because once the people wake up to the spell, You have to do more things because you're the person. They want to possess you. They worship you. You are their deity, right? But if you would have made products and services, they'll worship the product or services and then pass the products and services to their kids. And now you have generational lifetime consumers on your brand and on your service for the rest of your life. You walk the streets, no one even know who you are. No one even know who you are. But you killing it in the game with your products and your brands. Cult is just nothing but culture. That's it. Cult is short for culture. A cult is a term in most contexts, a pejorative for a group which is typically led by charismatic and self-appointed leader who tightly controls its members, requiring unwavering devotion to a set of beliefs and practices which are considered deviant. Right? A cult is nothing but culture, attitudes, customs, behavior, religion, belief, language, rituals, art/music. This look like it stink. Straight up. This doesn't look wavy whatsoever. Right? What was he offering? Man, leave Babylon, right? And come be natural, right? Don't shave, no bathing. We live off the land. Cool. Right? Look like it stink though. Just the optics, right? It's interesting because the dudes that do cults, they never get the women fly. Like the women are never in business blaze. You know what I mean? The women are never in heels. The women always don't never had no clothes on. It don't look like nobody making any money. But look at all these people, right? And now you're bringing babies into this, right? So you got all this attention right here. You got people that will do deviant behavior as initiations. These people are a sales force. That's what I see. And he probably wouldn't even have to pay them. They were not working on no business. None. None at all. It's all about the person. Now, fans, brands, cults, if you got people that are diehard like this, and the only thing you can think about with them is to get naked with them, they gave you their most valuable asset, which is their mind. Now, sometimes you can have people's body. When you have their mind, that means you have their legs and their hands. And that means these people will walk across hot coal for you. But what is the vision, though? What's the plan? What is the purpose of having this kind of control with people over people and you don't make any money? Coca-Cola makes money having control over people. The NBA, everybody watched the Super Bowl. The country shuts down for 3 hours because the brand of the NFL, you want to be a part of that. But the NFL is not a face. The NFL is not Roger Goodell. The NFL is not Tom Brady. It ain't Baker Mayfield. It's a shield. It's an ideal. So you got men with newborn babies bouncing the baby on his knee while he's watching the game. Him and his lady in the crib. They ain't missing nothing every Sunday, right? The brand has now went international. It has no face. So guess what? Companies will spend millions of dollars for 20-second commercial slots just so they can get visibility because the NFL has the attention. Look at the business going on. There was no business going on right here. Just people getting naked. Right? So this is his crew. Right? No LLC was formed. No S corp was formed. No corporation was formed. Nothing was formed. They are just moving around the world, stinking it up. Right? Bringing the property value down everywhere they go, because this is not a walking corporation here. Right? It's just people in rebellion that don't want to do anything, that don't want responsibility. Fine, cool. But with these bodies right here, you know how much stuff could have been done? Like really things could have been built. But the person in the middle is not thinking like that, because it's all about filling this childhood void of not being seen. This is what happens when you're not seen. They all went there to be seen. They all went there to be important. But guess what would have been more important? If this crew right here would have been making things and producing things, right? Now, the major problem people had with Nature Boy, I'm gonna keep it a buck. This is the real problem people had. They ain't like that. That right there, that really bothered people. And they black too? Oh no. People didn't like this. You know, America got a gender thing too, right? He ain't rich. He ain't a celebrity. Why is he using these black women like this? They wanted to be there, right? As dumb as we think it is, they're all the same kind. Fans do some interesting things, right? So the same feeling that'll make a fan do this when a team wins, the same feeling that a fan has, this enthusiasm over their team, look, what's the difference? Same thing. It's the same thing. We look at it and make the mistake of deciding what's best for them. I ain't deciding what's best for them. Everybody catch up with their own kind, right? My position is fans, brands, and cults. It's everything is one and the same. We just don't like the optics. How he got these black women out here, how he using them. Man, listen, they using each other. But this is just a waste of energy though, because it ain't about nothing. Right? So we don't like these optics. But now pay attention to what they're doing to him. Right? This is a problem, but it's not a problem if they do it for this. Now, if they give that same loyalty and that same energy to this, it's not a problem. Even if the money that they use for this was supposed to go to school clothes. We're not going to say that they have low self-esteem. We're not going to say that they're misguided and they're lost souls. We're just going to call her a baddie. We're just going to say that she lit. Even if she's using the money that she needs for her rent and her mortgage, even if she uses it for this, she might need an oil change. It don't matter. She might supposed to be on a budget, but it don't matter. If they do what they're doing here, if they do it here, no one would say anything. They're fanning out right here, right? They're fanning out of what they think is a brand, but he ain't a brand. Because a brand is an ideal. A brand is not a person. But this is fan behavior. So what people have an issue with is what you're a fan of. But it's still fanaticism. So the same people that look at this and be like, them girls is dumb, he took advantage of them. Does this company take advantage of the women as well? Does it matter? Right? But Nature Boy had men too, though. So we can't say that the women are not smart. He had men too. Now, I thought the men were logical. I thought men naturally were leaders. Just off the rip, right? Does this look like leadership? Does this look like logic? Or does this look like fans of brand or what they think is a brand? Now, some people will say these guys are zesty, they're this, they're that, right? I can't believe they will put themselves in that position, right? But we don't say that for this, though. So when Nature Boy uses men, it's a problem. But when the government uses men, it's not. What's the difference? The topic of today is fans, brands, and cults and how they bleed into each other. Now, we don't think this guy, it looks like boot camp, right? We don't think he has low self-esteem, even though he could be a lost soul. We don't think that he needs a mentor, he needs a father, or he's being used and abused. We don't think that when we see this. Do you know why? It's because the brand doesn't have a face on it. It's an ideal. He's doing it for his country. So he can be humiliated. He can be yelled at by two men. He can be told what to do as long as it's for his country. When Nature Boy is yelling at them, why is no one tripping? What's the difference? Fans, brands, and cults. What's the difference? We look at them and say, oh, these dudes is dumb. We don't think that with him. They'll send him to war. He is property of the United States government. But how come we don't look at the government as a brand? And when guys are patriotic and they're being fans for the brand, we don't look at them and side-eye them. We damn sure side-eye this, though. What's the difference? Fans, brands, and cults. What's the difference? The difference is how we feel about it. Look at these brands. Now, when a person risks their life for these brands, they get a 21 gun salute, they get a funeral, they get buried in a good spot. See, we don't mind it, right? Now, if Nature Boy was offering different incentives, if everybody got a house, if he put money in everybody's account, even though he was mistreating them, people would turn a blind eye. How do we know? Because when your son calls home from boot camp, you just say, baby, you got this. Get through it. Be strong. Because there's an incentive at the end. You're going to be a part of a good what? Brand. What is a brand? An ideal. So get through this. They'll pay for your college. You'll get a crib. You'll be aligned with a good fraternity. Nature Boy didn't offer any incentives. Nature Boy didn't offer any incentives, but if he offered incentives, nobody would be tripping. But it's the same thing. He was using these men. Okay. Do these men get used? The government is a brand. Police is a brand. Navy SEALs is a brand. A brand is nothing but an ideal. Huh. Islam, Christianity, Judaism, the Abrahamic religions, right? They all have characters in their books that people romanticize about. How is Nature Boy different than David and Joshua and Muhammad and Jesus? How is he different? He's different because he's alive. That's the difference. Because people can't prove the existence of those names that I mentioned. Can't take me where they're buried. Can't tell me what they look like. The difference is you can follow any person as long as they're dead. If Jesus was walking the earth, it wouldn't hit the same. In fact, they would consider those that are Christians being a part of a cult. If he was alive, if Abraham was alive, people would say that Islam is a cult. If Moses was alive, people would consider Judaism a cult. What makes a cult is the charismatic leader is alive. Malachi York was alive. Jim Jones was alive. David Caruth was alive. But when you look into their literature, many of them claim divine origins. Malachi York said he can go to different planets. The difference is the individual's alive. People follow Muhammad. Why? Because he's dead. Jesus. Why? Because he's dead. See, when you're alive, you can be picked apart. We can see your flaws. The Christians believe Jesus never had sex before. They can't prove that. But because he's dead, you can say any damn thing. Yeah, he walked on water. What's the difference? Nature Boy's alive. In Mecca, you walk around a stone. That's supposed to be a meteor. In Christianity, the central figure is supposed to walk on water and have 5,000 people out there and take 2 pieces of bread or 3 pieces of bread, whatever, and feed everybody, feed the multitude. In Israel, yo, this land is ours. This is our homeland from ancient times. Cool. What do they all have in common? The central figure is dead. You cannot run a cult and be alive because your humanity will be on display. Once you pass away, some type of you're going to have an origin story that is different than your real birth. You're going to have supernatural qualities placed on you. No matter how hard that stings, people only follow Jesus because he's dead. If he was alive, people will be looking at his feet. People will be looking at his hands. People will say what they don't like. Muhammad, the same. Buddha, the same. They are dead. So you can make up any history. Brands. These are brands. Look at their market cap. Right? Brands represent an ideal. Cults represent an individual. Where Nature Boy and many other people mess up at is you make your movement about you instead of about a philosophy and an ideal. So when you're not here no more, people can still move with the movement because it's about something bigger than you. Now, look at the market cap on these companies. When only thing is Facebook. When you think about it, you have a person in mind, and that's because he's been visible. Don't be a cult leader. Be a brand leader. And you want people to have cultish behavior with your product and your service. You don't want people to follow you per se. Don't follow you. Follow the ideal. When you feel the energy coming to you, shift it off of you to your product, to your service. Take it from somebody who made a mistake in that. Of when I was scaling, people were coming to me and I let them, right? I let them come behind my veil instead of making it about the business. Make it about the company. Make it about the brand. You are not the brand. A brand is not a person. A brand is an ideal. It's how people feel about the product, not about you. So the difference between carbonation and these brands is carbonation had a face at the forefront of the movement, and brands have an ideal at the forefront of the movement. Then comes products, then comes services, then comes commercial and advertising and celebrity endorsements. But Nike is just do it. Apple is think different. When Nature Boy would go and talk, he's talking about himself and rambling on about Babylon and something metaphysical that's not tangible, that you can't measure. And people like that, right? Because let's be clear here, everybody's not going to be a leader. There's nothing wrong with people being a sheep. That's fine. Let people be a sheep for your business. Let people go spread your business, not you. Let your business be the baby and let your business do the walking and the talking for you. Brands. Now, when people see this, they're like, oh my God, they got low self-esteem. Don't nobody say that when people give all of their energy to this stuff. When we watch TV, we're constantly sold to every single day. We don't cut our cable off. We are sold to every single day. No one asks if we mind that. They just do it because we ain't going to cut service. We want to be entertained. Let me tell you something. The women that are on him like this, it's funny. And the men that are on him like this, right? Get a hard look, right? this stinky ass crew, this sweaty ass crew, if they will do this for Nature Boy, you telling me they will not do this for your business, for your brand? Yo, I don't want to hear nobody talk about, yeah, ain't nobody loyal no more. Yeah, these men, these women, yo, if you a dude, I don't want to hear you say nothing about women no more. About how you can't find no good woman and how women ain't this and when. If he can book them, he smashed all of them. If he can book them, fam, you can have it your way too. But I advise you that if you get the attention from women, don't move their attention below your waist. If you get attention from women, make them into lifetime customers. Even if they bad or not, whatever, create products for the baddies. If you got men that will get behind you like this, that's 7 dudes back there. There go your sales force right there. There go your marketing team. There go your street team. Symbols. A symbol is worth 1,000 pictures. Nature Boy was not a symbol. He wasn't a brand, because you can't be. A brand is an ideal, but he didn't make a brand. He just had fans. But he wasn't a symbol. When you seen a certain symbol, his movement didn't come to mind. A picture's worth 1,000 words, but a symbol is worth 1,000 pictures. You have to die in the symbol. You really want to make a cult? You have to die physically and become an ideal and become a symbol. So when people see it, the ideal comes to mind. Our body cannot live forever, but the ideals and the philosophies that we create transcend time. This is as far as he thought. This is small-minded. This is small. Yeah. We're out the country. Where is it? This is small. This is how far Project Dreams go. Yeah, women and this is small. This is big. See, succeeding at this will get you this. See, this can come right here though. Even though it's a small dream, this right here. If you succeed at this, right? If you succeed at this, then whatever is on your mind, whatever your heart wants, you can get. If you succeed at this is the biggest flex ever. This is not a flex. Oh, let's return to nature. Our ancestors. This is not a flex. This is a small dream. This ain't nothing but a social group. You could have had the same thing and just meet up with everybody on Saturday and kick it. They are there for him. And what happened? He didn't even have an ideal that would police him. It's whatever, right? But you could get this with this. Sorry, with this right here. Fans, brands, and cults. A mediocre ideal that generates enthusiasm. A mediocre ideal that generates enthusiasm will go further than a great ideal that inspires no one. All Nature Boy thought was this, right? His mind didn't go further than this. Most cult leaders don't, but most creators, their mind doesn't go that far either. It's all about attention and being seen. I get it. When you actually let your mind go, right? Your mind could go into places that makes your name live forever and transcend. You create things that human beings want to use and want to enjoy, and they make their family members be a part of it as well. They say, have you seen this? Have you tried this? Have you heard this? For Nature Boy, it was, have you seen this? And people could see the spectacle. People could see them stinking it up. They brought Section 8 vibes to paradise. Everywhere they go, they stunk it up. Everywhere they go, they made the environment, which was always beautiful, they made it ugly. Why? Because nobody was making things. And his mind, his imagination didn't go further than this. But you see what happens with imagination when you let it go? The light bulb, the telephone, 300 uses for peanuts, the printing press, the iPhone, fluorescent lighting. This is all he got. Yeah, I got to sleep with 4 women, 5 women at the same time. How is that a good vision? That's a ceiling. But it is heaven for the poor boy. It is heaven for the person that poverty has done a disservice to. It's a heaven for a person with a mother wound. If you have charisma, right? If you have charisma, create a company, right? Become a symbol and never bring the people to you. Move the people to your ideal, not to you. Don't do what Nature Boy did. Don't do what Jim Jones did or Warren Jeffs. Don't do what they did. They made it about themselves, the man. You make it about a brand. If you got people that will run through a brick wall for you, well, what would they do if they represented your actual company with a product in their hands? What will they do if they have to go build a storefront somewhere else? If you can get this, if you can get this, if he can get this, people will definitely buy your book. People will definitely stream your song. People will pick up whatever you put down. Think bigger than this, though. Think bigger than this. Kind of like her. The multiplying mind sees these women do this and thinks, what about 2 million women buying this product right here? Because if they'll do this for this nigga that stink, what would they do for Riri? Fans, brands, and cults. And you are in one whether you know it or not. You are in somebody's cult, right? Now, what you have to decide is, are you going to create your own cult? And your cult is not about it's not about people following you. It's not about that, right? Your cult is about products, services, right? You build your brand. Take you out of it. You create a brand story for your brand. And you build your brand as if you're dressing clothes on a man that you're attracted to, or you're dressing clothes on a woman that you're attracted to, right? And you go from there and you give it legs, right? Because cults ain't going nowhere. But the best cult leaders are not Nature Boy, you know what I'm saying? It's not David Caruso. It's not Yahweh Ben Yahweh. The best cult leaders are the table, the board of directors for Coca-Cola, for Snickers, right? For the NBA, right? For Facebook, for Twitter. Those are the best cult leaders, right? So fans, brands, and cults, you have to decide. And if you are a person that is trying to get your brand together, if you're a person that would like to, or you need help converting your fans into fanatics for real, go ahead and use the QR code. Or if you just need a accountability partner, holla at me. I got you, right? And I just want to let you know that all warfare is an above the neck thing, right? War is a fight that is above the neck. If you got to throw your hands, you lost. Everything is mental, even warfare. So much success to you, even if you wish me the opposite. Sooner or later, we'll all see who the prophet is. Fans, brands, cults.